Hello, this is Heather with Creativity by Heather PE. I hope that you're all doing well and staying safe. Today I'm going to be showing you a slimline thank you card using primarily Lawn Fawn products. So I'm going to be using the straight flower borders, the layered butterflies, the new Oliver stitched ABCs, and these are the capital letters. I'm also going to be using the outside frame of the small slimline flaps, and also a stencil by Heavy Doodle called Head in the Clouds. I'm also going to be using two different collections of Lawn Fawn shimmer cardstock. The first one is Tropical, and then I'm also going to be using some of the yellow out of the pastel. I will show you later on in the video with one of the flowers there's two different sides to this. One of them is more shimmery than the other. So I use my Gemini to cut out the stitched rectangle, and I'm going to be doing some ink blending for the sky. So I'm using two different blending brushes. The first one is the Altenew, the large one, and then I'm also using the small Pink and Main. For my sky, I'm going to be using Distress Oxide Tumble Glass and also Distress Oxide Salty Ocean. I decided to start first with my large Altenew blending brush and put the tumble glass down. Now, if I did this card again, I would reverse this. I would actually put the Salty Ocean down first and then go back in and do my clouds in tumble glass. But in the end, I still like the way the card came out, but that's just something that I would change up. So I'm just going through and laying down a layer of the tumble glass. And I'm going to have the flowers at the bottom, so I'm not really concerned about going to the very edge of the panel. I just want it down enough where you can see the sky behind the panel. So once I have that down, I'm going to use this Heavy Doodle stencil, and this is a great stencil because you could lay it flat and really just do all of the clouds where they are, or you can kind of move it around like I am here. And it's got some clouds that are off on the edges, on the top, bottoms, and the side, which is kind of cool. So you can just put those up on your edges. You can also overlap them. So you're going to see on some of these, I'm going to go in and then choose another cloud and kind of overlap it. So this is the part where I think it would have probably looked better had I done the darker background and then the lighter with the clouds. And I will be honest with you, I had to edit out a lot of the clouds because I just could not stop myself. So I love this stencil. To kind of soften everything back out, I am taking the Altenew brush again, and I did use the small Pink and Main for the clouds, and it was nice because I didn't have to put tape over any of them. It was small enough where it didn't overlap into the other ones. I decided to use my Distress water sprayer just to add some little water droplets to the sky, and then I'm just using my microfiber cloth to pick all that up. So once I get that done, I decided I did want a little bit of shimmer as well, and I've talked about this in another video. I keep these little mini misters with perfect pearls mixed with water. I have the gold, this pearl one, and then I also have a bronze one as well. I like to keep those just to give some little extra oomph for the cards. So these are the layered butterflies, and I decided to cut out both of them, and I'm showing you here that with this layered butterfly, you get the back part, which is the solid, and then you also get the front, which has kind of the design on it. And you could definitely do some paper piecing. I decided just to cut out the different backgrounds, and I did use those in some of the shimmer stock from Lawn Fawn. So I've got the yellow and then the purple. And you can also cut out the little bodies. There's also a die that will cut out the antennas, and I decided just to do the bodies. I wanted to pull in some black somewhere because that's the color that I'm going to do my thank you for my letters on. So I went ahead and just did the bodies. I left the antennas the color of the cardstock that I chose. And the cardstock for that large one, I'll have it listed below. It's one of the Lawn Fawn ones. I can't remember what the name of it is. Peacock, that one might be Peacock. And then I think the smaller one is Guava, but I'll have it linked below. So I'm using some of my Nuvo Deluxe glue. I'm just going and very lightly adding some adhesive to the back of this. You could also, before you die cut this, use some like stick-it adhesive or something to put on the back of it to make it into a sticker. That would be easy as well. I'm going to put that down right over top of my yellow glitter paper. And this is a pretty large butterfly, as you'll see when I put it on the card panel. This butterfly could really be the focal point of a card if you wanted. And I glued the small one and just did it in the exact same way. And I'm using my heavy concrete box there. I love that thing. I got it at the Container Store, I believe, a while ago. So for the bottom, I wanted to use the straight border flowers, and these actually cut out. It doesn't actually cut out from the paper, so I had to cut the edges off. So it's meant to be used to actually cut it on the panel, but I just cut the sides off of it so that it was individual and separate, and then I also die cut a bunch of the individual flowers in different colors so that way I could add those on. And there I'm showing you that shimmer cardstock, so you can see that's definitely the more shimmery side. That both sides of this cardstock is really nice, and I believe there's actually another set. I can't remember what the name of it is, but these two that I'm using are the tropical and the pastel. And I believe you get 10 sheets, and it's 80-pound cardstock. There you can see I've got one finish, and I started doing them kind of yellow, pink, and then I decided just to randomly put them on. So because this isn't a slimline border, I had to kind of piece two together, which is no big deal because I knew I needed to cut the bottom part off as well. I am also going to go back in and fill in the centers of some of those flowers, but I wanted to go ahead and get the flowers done on my panel first, and then I'll go back in and add those. You could also take like a small piece of tape or something and put on the back of it, but because it wasn't a solid, because you had the space between the flowers, I thought this might be easier. So now that I have everything glued down, I'm just going to take my scissors and trim those off. And this one was not as easy. I thought, I'll just go through and trim it. This one was a little bit more difficult than I anticipated, but we got through it. If I'd have been patient and probably let the glue dry, it would have been a little bit better, but patience is not my strong point. So I'm just very carefully, I could have also put this in a paper trimmer. I have my Tim Holtz guillotine trimmer, but since I already have my scissors out, I just decided to go ahead and cut it. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the die, the slimline die, and I'm going to run it back through my Gemini. Because this die has stitching, so I want the stitching to go all the way around my card, because right now I just covered up the stitching on the bottom with those flowers. So once I get these pieces stuck in the middle, I am going to take my die and do that again, and here you can see me laying it on top. And that just makes it more a cohesive look, and it's very simple to do this. I've done it using liquid glue and also using a tape runner, and it die cuts it kind of is almost just embossing. It does it fine. So now I have the stitching all the way around my card. So the only thing left to do is to put my letters together. And when I cut out the Oliver's ABCs, they are actually all stuck together. And so when I cut them out, I didn't take them apart. I didn't use my wire snips to take them apart. I thought it would be easier than trying to keep up with all the pieces. And there you can see the flowers, or the butterflies, and that one you can really see how large it is. So I just left them all connected. I put it on my black cardstock, ran it through my die cut machine, and then I also did it with 2 pieces of 80-pound Neenah cardstock because I wanted to give these some dimension. So there's actually going to be 3 layers for the thank you. So I've off camera already glued the 2 white layers together. So I'm going to just add some liquid glue to the top, and I'm just using a glue pen I've had forever. and to put that top one on. So I've got my T there. And then I will go back in and add all of them so they'll have 3 layers of dimension. And I'm going to go ahead and add my butterflies, and I'm just going to use liquid glue, and I want the small one to be behind the larger one. So I will put this one down flat with liquid glue, and then for the larger one, I'll put liquid glue up on the part of the wing that's going to touch the smaller one, and then I will add foam squares to the rest, so that way it has the same dimension on it. Thought this ended up being a really pretty card, and the butterflies were so much fun to put together, and they were very simple, and I've had this set for a while. I've just never used it, and it's definitely something definitely into next spring and into the winter I'd really like to use a lot more. And you could also do them with like monarch butterflies for the fall, would be pretty as well. So I'm just putting that down, and it does overlap a little bit, but that's okay because this panel is actually smaller than my card base, so it's just going to overlap onto the card base. And once I have my thank you laid out, and I am not very good at lining things up, so typically when I will put a sentiment like this, I do it kind of wonky, so one's leaning one way, one's leaning the other, so it looks intentional because I just get frustrated trying to get it straight. I can put my T-ruler up there, and it just never seems to come out right. So this is the easiest way for me that I found, is I just kind of do them a little bit wonky. And I thought with the butterflies and kind of the scene with the flowers and being in the sky, it was okay to do it that way. Just using my Nuvo glue to glue everything down. Once I get this glued down, I'm not going to do anything else to it. I decided not to embellish it or anything. I thought the glitter behind the butterflies and also the shimmer on the flowers was enough. So I would just add this to my card base. And I did use, I believe my card base is from Simon Hurley Creates white cardstock is what I used. Typically for my A2 size cards, I will use Nina Solar White, but I take my cardstock to FedEx Kinko's and have it cut down, and I don't have any full sheets. Which now that slimline cards are popular, I'm going to have to remember to change some of those dimensions. And then we are done. I needed to actually make a bunch of thank you cards for some family, and I've kind of been putting it off, and this was the first one, and it was really fun. So I'm going to definitely go in and make a few more. So that is our panel. I love the shimmer that the butterflies give off, and I'm just going to use some liquid glue to adhere this panel down to my card base. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you're not a subscriber, I hope you consider subscribing, and don't forget to hit that little bell for notifications. And if you are a subscriber and you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you and have a great day.